because of that confusing ending and the jokes being hit and miss. And I'll admit, since I haven't watched RWBY, I can't really say how this falls into line with the continuity or the canon of the anime. So, who knows? Maybe I'm just being a moron. I don't know. It wouldn't be my first time. But yeah, I still think you guys should check this movie out. It should be out right now on DVD, so go out and buy it if you can, and just have a blast. It's a lot of fun, and I think you're going to really enjoy this one. I certainly enjoyed it far more than I expected, and a lot like this, it's a pretty great crossover that somehow just works. Like, it's hard to explain. You just gotta see it. So yeah, that's all I got. My final verdict for Justice League RWBY Superheroes and Huntsman Part 1, that title was a mouthful, is a 9 out of 10. This is a great crossover, a great first part to hopefully an even better second part. And now I want to check out RWBY, and I want to see where this story goes. So yeah, that's all I got. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share. Yeah, I guess you can say I'm a fan now. But I waited 5 months for this second part, so we're going to talk about it now. I'm Jad Small, this is the Animation Station. Welcome to my little custom RWBY getup, and welcome to my review of Justice League X RWBY Superheroes and Huntsman Part 2. Let's begin. Try and get a good action. Begin! Yeah, no, I looked stupid doing that. But I'm in a good mood, okay? Don't spoil it. Hey everybody, welcome back to Animation Station, your number one substitute for anything and everything animation. As you can see, today is a really exciting day because after having to wait a full day because of fighting internet bullcrap, today I finally got to see the second part of the crossover that has since introduced me to the series known as RWBY. And I've become a pretty big fan, as you can see. I've made my own custom cosplay. This is also my Halloween costume. It's not done yet, but this is the basic idea. And then, since then, I've also been able to get this little beauty right here that has the first 6 volumes all on one set. I've watched all 6. I absolutely love the show. I think this show's fantastic. And without this crossover event, well, I probably wouldn't even be up here talking to you about this right now, but yeah, this is probably one of my most cherished purchases I've ever done, and it's going to have a really nice place in my DVD collection. So yeah, for those of you trying to get into RWBY, this is a great starter right here. This is all 6 volumes for less than $20. I'd say that's pretty much a steal. And then as for the prop you saw, well, it's technically not from RWBY, this is technically from Genshin, but I'm trying to go for like a whole red and black aesthetic, so I got this giant red and black sword. Pretty cool. I promise I will do like a TikTok or something of the whole costume when it's finished, because I still have to like put these little roses on the little things right here, but anyway, we're not here to talk about my costume. We're here to talk about the second part of this crossover event that is now concluded. And also, before I forget, hashtag Greenlight Volume 10. Seriously, get on that, WB. Stop freaking meddling around. But anyway, welcome back to Animation Station, your number one substitute for anything and everything animation, including 4 awesome teenagers fighting for the fate of the world. I know, I'm still working on it. And welcome to my review of the highly anticipated Justice League X RWBY Part 2 movie. Sorry, I screwed that up. Justice League X RWBY Superheroes and Huntsman Part 2, the movie. And wow, does it live up to the hype and then some. I'm just gonna say it right now. If you love part 2 like I did, I'm I'm so freaking excited. I can't even talk straight. It's weird. But if you guys loved part 1 like I did, if you saw my review 5 months ago, you're going to adore part 2 because it's just as good as that first part, and both of them together create an incredible story. Arguably, probably one of the greatest crossovers I've ever seen. And that's saying a lot, because I've seen a lot of great crossovers. But yeah, this movie's awesome. It's epic. It's fantastic. It's funny. It's heartfelt. It's everything that you love about both DC's Justice League and the RWBY franchise combined into one. And it works on so many levels, and I'm going to tell you why in this very detailed, very long review. And yes, this isn't part of any Halloween marathon or anything, and it's because it's not even Halloween related. I mean, yes, I'm wearing the costume, but that's besides the point. Point is, this is technically not anything related to what we're doing for the Halloween marathons, so because of that, we're not going to talk about it in the marathon of Halloween stuff. This is just an extra bonus review that I want to talk about because I'm a huge fan of both of these franchises, especially RWBY, very recently. And I literally just spent almost $100+ on getting this entire costume, so yeah. Needless to say, I'm going to make sure to get as much usage out of this friggin' thing as possible, even if I had to show it to you incomplete because the rest of it isn't here yet and there's pieces that still aren't done, but screw it, we're just going to roll with it. So, here's my very long, very analytical written review for Justice League X RWBY Part 2. Hopefully, it does a good job explaining my opinion on it, and hopefully gets you guys to check these out, because these are arguably among the best animated movies of the year, and way better than all the freaking garbage that's in theaters right now. So, here's my review. Enjoy. What's a finale? Following their escape from the digital realm, the Justice League return to their universe only to find that it's overrun with Grimm even stronger than the ones that they fought before in the digital realm. With their backs against the wall and Batman absent, I can't say why because it's a spoiler, Team RWBY arrives to help their new allies and solve the mystery of the partner that Kilgore has been working with this whole time to save both of their realms from utter destruction. For those of you who don't know the story, it's thanks to the fantastic first part of this crossover that was introduced to the RWBY franchise to begin with, which I've now become a huge fan of since. So to say that I was excited for this event to see how this event's going to conclude is an understatement. And I'm delighted to say that this is more than lived up to my high anticipation for it, and only made this entire crossover even better overall. And yes, better than Batman vs. TMNT. Let's start with the negatives first, since I only have a few minor nitpicks. Batman being absent for almost half of the film is a bummer, but it is fixed later on, so it's not that bad. Team Juniper, Nora, Ren, and John from the first part do not return for this second part of the story, which is a missed opportunity since John and Jessica's bonding was one of the biggest strengths of the first one. But maybe after I finally get to see volumes 7 through 9, it'll make more sense story-wise why they're not included. And since there's such a huge cast this time around with both the League, including Black Canary, who wasn't in the first part, and Team RWBY, it does jump around a fair bit, which can get a little confusing. But it's also fixed later, so I can forgive it. Now for the endless amount of positives. Let's start with RWBY's brand new designs, which like always, in my opinion, are fantastic. In my opinion, all the RWBY designs are great for their own different purposes and ways. Yang's is Amazonian-like and armed with a handheld flamethrower. Blake's is sleek like a ninja, but no longer has her ears since faunists don't exist in the DC realm, with both a katana and a staff. That's pretty cool. White's finally letting her hair down instead of just being in the same braid as usual, as well as combat heels. What I mean by that is that she's wearing her high heels, but they have this platform underneath of the heel part to make them look like boots. It's pretty cool when you actually see it. And armed with an ice gun. And RWBY's design is very wilderness-like inspired, and armed with a mythical scythe. And it's also very rugged-looking, which is really interesting. Personally, I can't talk today. Personally, I really love all 4 of them, and they perfectly fit into the DC realm alongside the Justice League themselves. Add on all its other strengths, the excellent story that perfectly continues where Part 1 left off, the stakes higher than before with both realms at stake, Amazing character development, especially Weiss and Flash in particular, who are both suffering from PTSD from past events. Flash from being possessed by Kilgore in the last movie, and Weiss for reasons that are technically spoilers for later volumes of RWBY, so I can't go into detail. Awesome action that's even more wild than the first part, like the action in this is cranked up to 11. And it's so freaking good all throughout. The 3D animation is still excellent, the pacing is fast and doesn't waste a single second, the runtime is perfect and doesn't overstay its welcome, the final act is pure, unbridled insanity, and I love it. The reveal of the secondary antagonist is a huge shocker for those of us that actually know our RWBY lore. The voice acting is incredible, especially Lindsay Jones, and probably her best performance of Ruby Rose since Volume 3, and Travis Willingham as Superman. Both of those two have such a great chemistry together. I almost want to see a whole movie of just those two working together. Like, that'd be really interesting. The final battle is phenomenal. Seriously, the final battle of this movie is amazing. The writing is outstanding, and the rewatchability, especially for fans of both franchises, is extraordinarily... I screwed it up again. Extraordinarily high. I can't talk today. Extraordinarily high. Overall, this is an epic conclusion to a spectacular two-part crossover and easily among WB's best projects in a long time. Whether you're a fan of the DC Universe, the RWBY franchise, both, or just an animation fan in general, I seriously cannot recommend this crossover highly enough. Both parts are fantastic and very high quality, and not to mention leagues better than all the garbage currently in theaters right now. If you know what I mean, then you know what I mean. I'm not going to go into specifics. Easily going to be high on the year-end best list. My final verdict for part 1 was originally a 9, and then I watched 1 through 6 of the original RWBY volumes, and then that went up to a 10 because I had context for some of those extra scenes. And this one, even though I technically need to watch volumes 7, 8, and 9 to really understand how this fits into RWBY, this is still an amazing second part that does not disappoint. Like, if you are a fan of the first part, you're not going to be disappointed with the second part. It is a great conclusion to an epic two-part saga. And honestly, I wish it wasn't just 2 parts. I feel like they could have really made this like its own anthology season, like anthology series or something. It would have been so freaking interesting. And I highly doubt this is the last time we will ever see these two collide together. At least I hope not, because they did such an amazing job. I want to see more of it. So, as for my final verdict for part 2 specifically, I mean, easy 10 out of 10. Easy. It's faithful to the RWBY franchise, it's faithful to the DC comics, and it is a blast to watch, especially as a fan of both of those. And I cannot thank this crossover enough for even introducing me to this amazing series in the first place. Like, without this movie being as great as it is, I probably would never have even watched RWBY. It's not that I didn't want to, I never had the time, but I found the time. I forced myself to find the time as soon as I finished watching that first part because it was so great and I wanted to learn more. Now I own this, now I have watched a good bit of RWBY, and it is an amazing series that you guys need to check out for yourself. I will leave a link to this specific Blu-ray in the description box below, and yeah, that also means that the final verdict overall for the entire crossover is an easy 10 out of 10. Now, yes, that means it's not going to be like the best movie of the entire year, because I have given 2 12s this year. First time I have ever done that since I started reviewing things on this channel back in 2021. Yeah, back in 2021. So, needless to say, it's still going to be pretty high on the list. And it is that WB animation Dark Horse movie that we get almost every year. Last year, it was Battle of the Super Sons, which really shocked me. I thought it was going to be really bad, but it was actually fantastic. And this year, it was not 1, but 2 movies back-to-back. So, yeah, it's been a great year for WB Animation. Just wish they celebrated their 100th anniversary special better, seriously. That special, that Teen Titans special, that Teen Titans Go special can go screw itself. But overall, WB's had a pretty great year, and this is probably the best project they've done all year. And that's saying a lot, because they also released, what was it called? I forget the other project they released this year, but I'm pretty sure I reviewed it, and I'm pretty sure I told you it was good. So, yeah, that pretty much concludes all my thoughts and opinions, without spoilers, on the entire Justice League X RWBY Superheroes and Huntsman saga. Definitely check both of these DVDs out. Buy them both, however you possibly can. You need to see both of these. They are fantastic. The physical for this one comes out on Halloween, and while it's technically not even a Halloween movie, I still recommend you see it as soon as it comes out. It is absolutely worth watching. But for those of you that like to buy things digital and see things early, like most people nowadays, it is available now on digital. But you have to wait until the 31st to get your physical copies. You know, because people just hate physical nowadays for whatever reason. But, yep, that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Is that a Grim trying to get in my review? Oh, for goodness gracious. Okay. Looks like I got some work I gotta go attend to. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time on Animation Station. Yeah!